we could be alone between city lights. We don't have to hide. I wanna go, do you wanna follow? There's something in the air, I can't explain it, but it's there. Ain't nobody gonna find us in a secret love affair. I don't wanna have to hide no more, it shouldn't be unfair. I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow? Baby, do you wanna follow? Come with me, do you wanna follow? Baby, can't you see that? I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow? Baby, do you wanna follow? Come with me, do you wanna follow? Baby, can't you see that? I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow? I can't understand why we can't hold hands, but they don't know what we have is real love. Aren't you sick and tired of having to hide? I know a place, do you wanna follow? There's something in the air, I can't explain it, but it's there. Ain't nobody gonna find us in a secret love affair. I don't wanna have to hide no more, it shouldn't be unfair. I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow? Baby, do you wanna follow? Come with me, do you wanna follow? Baby, can't you see that? I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow? Do you wanna follow? Baby, do you wanna follow? Come with me, do you wanna follow? Baby, can't you see that? I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow?
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Livestream. It's time. It's Monday night. It's time for some Q&A. It's nice to see all the people in the chat, including Phantom FPV. Good to see you, my friend. Speedy Turtle is here. How's it, Speedy Turtle, Speedy Cares package going? Speedy still going? Oh, I know you guys love it when I drink carbonated drinks on stream, so you're welcome. You're welcome. I'll be slurping and burping. Fabio Pansera, it's very good to see you, man. It should be illegal. I have to wait this late to see the live stream. Fabio is in... Where are you? Where is he? He's in Ukraine, I think. He's in Ukraine. I always get confused because I think he's Italian with a name like Fabio. Fabio Pansera. How could he not be Italian? Sorry, Fabio. I'm insulting you. But I think he lives in Ukraine. I don't know why you're up this late, man. For those of you who don't know, Fabio is my editor. He does 95% of the editing of my videos, and then I change a few things after he delivers it to me just to feel like I'm important. But good to see you, man. I'm glad you're here. Oh, and of course, everybody else in the chat. He says my accent is amazing. Yeah, well, thank you. It's very generous of you. The most important part of an Italian accent is the hand. It's the hand. So I hear. Don't cancel. Please don't cancel me. You'll never believe what Bardwell did. A while back, he insulted Australians, and then he did a horribly offensive caricature stereotype of a Italian accent. Uh-oh. Oh, no, my mouse is dying. I gotta plug my mouse in. There we go. I gotta... It's a problem with a wireless mouse. Welcome to the live stream, everybody. What time is it where Fabio is? I don't know. Ask Fabio. Fabio, what time is it? Phantom was commenting on my benches, my cabinet, my workbench. I got the last one. You guys can't see it. I don't think you can see this on stream. It's the one that my printer is on behind me. You can't see it. I got one more to replace that, and it came today. And the driver was like, well, I can just drop it right here in your driveway. And I was like, oh, okay. He was like, technically they want me to drop it on the street. I was like, oh, see, you're doing me a favor. So I have a 400-pound cabinet sitting at the bottom of my front yard that I now have to figure out how to get into my house. But hey, I got these in. What kind of workbench is it? It's by a company called Rousseau. I saw them in a person's workshop and thought, oh, those are pretty nice. And then I searched and searched. I forgot the name. I forgot the name of the company. I was just like, oh yeah, they had a really nice workbench. And then I looked for workbenches and cabinets, and they were all shitty. All of them were shitty. And I actually bought a shitty one. And it was delayed and didn't come for like 6 months. They kept pushing back delivery. And finally I said, this is a sign. And then fortunately I got hired to go back. And when I was back at this company's site, I was like, hold on, let me get a closer look at your workbenches. What brand are these workbenches? I must have them. And now I do. Anyway, enough about if you want to talk about them, I'll talk about them for a while. But I think you're here to talk about FPV, aren't you? Not my workbenches. What's up, guys? Yeah, Afix is sharing this. Back in the day, when I had folding tables. Now we've come so far. I'm still Jenny from the block. Is the worktop solid wood? It's a butcher block top. I'm not sure exactly what it is. Fabio says company's playing hard to get with a shitty product. Amazing. I think they would have loved to have sold me the product. They just couldn't get it. So what are you gonna do? Bushcrafter, thank you for your compliment on my last video. I thought it was some pretty good freestyle for me. I was really having a good time. So I appreciate the compliment. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to just talk about my office furniture for 2 hours. No. What we're going to do is we're going to answer your questions. I'll be taking your questions here in the YouTube chat. Why haven't 270 people hit the like button yet? I'll tell you what, Vampire. I'm with you. I'll be answering your questions here in the chat. Stainless top would be nicer. Carbon cage. The problem with the stainless top is stainless is conductive. So if you work with lipos and electronics, stainless is not ideal, in my opinion. I thought about a stainless top, but stainless is great for restaurants and food service, but not so much, I think, for electronics, static electricity and stuff. If you want to make sure I get your message, then hit the $ right here and leave a super chat. We have no super chats yet, so you could be the first. Muhammad Shah wants to know, looks like you had fun with the Nazgul Evoque. What do you think the secret is? There's no one secret. It's a formula. It's the totality of the recipe. I think the 720 gram weight plays into it. I think you take any quadcopter and you take 60 grams off of it or whatever, and take 40 grams off of it, it will make a big difference. I think obviously the motors are very good. The whole thing is good, but I think the weight has a lot to do with it. That's it. How do I manage to have great looking hair in all my videos? Well, I try not to have hair. That's the secret. It's getting time to cut my hair again. Before I forget, let's also say thank you to these people over here in the Discord. I will also be watching your messages and taking your questions. These are my patrons over in the Discord. People who support me with a couple dollars a month. It's the $2 a month is the bottom tier. And then the top tier is all of your money. No, it's up to you. Oh, and I'll be hanging out with you guys. So thank you so much for your support. Ghost Branch, just staying up late. Is Orca going digital? Asks June Loco. Yes, but no one knows when it will actually come out. Your boy on Mac wants to know, is the Johnny FPV frame any good? Yes, if you want to carry an air unit, it's good. That's what I would say. Do you know when the FPV Cycle Cineglide 7-inch frame will be back in stock? Justin Rice. No, and neither does Bob Ruge. No one knows. Just wait for the notification and or buy what's in stock. But Grizzly FPV is having trouble getting Immersion RC Ghost to work with the Nazgul. I mean, if you're using SRXL or Ghost protocol, then you need to wire to it. You are TX pad, so maybe that's the issue. Yeah. AMR Madden says, it seemed like you had very good low throttle. Sorry about that. Hey! Oh, sneaky bug. I slapped it, and it still stayed alive. I had my window open earlier because we've just gone from summer into fall here. The days are glorious. I was letting the air in, then the bugs got in. It seemed like you had very good low throttle control with the Evoque. Would you say that's correct? I would say I had good control overall. I don't know if I specifically had great low throttle control. I wouldn't say it was bad. I can't tell how much of the fun that I was having with the Evoque was the weight, the motors, and the PIDs, and how much was the fact that I tried out the actual rates that it ships with. And for whatever reason, they were close enough to my normal freestyle rates that I was able to adjust and not feel too messed up. But at the same time, I was flying on actual rates. The other thing that quad has that's different is the FPV camera on the analog quad is super wide angle. It feels super wide angle to me. And that makes it look like you're going way faster. That's just how wide angle lenses work. And maybe that felt like I was going so fast that it made me fly more aggressively. So I don't know. Oh, we got some super chats coming in. Ooh, but first, this question from Broondog807. I've got a risky shot coming up on Friday. If something goes wrong, my quad is gone forever. Any memories stick out where you lost your quad and your GoPro? I have not yet lost a GoPro and failed to retrieve it. I have lost some GoPros that I thought were gone, but I always managed to get them back in the end. I had a quad stuck in I'll give you a memory. I had a quad stuck in a tree once at the very, very top of a pine tree. And I thought, this is it. It was probably 70 feet in the air, just eyeballing it. And I thought, that's it. It's gone. And it was right outside my house, too. It wasn't on my property. It was just on the street. And a friend of mine here in Knoxville, Bob Davis is his name. He goes by Peckerwood FPV. That's his pilot name. Actually, he's a Lumineer sponsored pilot, if you know him. He runs a painting company by his day job when he's not being an FPV pilot, of course. And he came down with two of his guys in his paint van, and they got out the biggest damn extension ladder I ever saw. And one of them they just stuck it in the branches of the tree. One of them climbed up and grabbed the quad out of the tree and came back down again. I was like, can I take him out for a beer or something? You guys want to go get it, say thank you? He was like, nah, they're on the clock. He said, they're working. Doesn't matter. I was like, well, damn. So he's a good dude. Okay, let's get some super chats. You guys are jamming in the super chats. Thank you so much for your generosity. DC US 55, thank you for a $5 super chat. Seconds after takeoff, my 5-inch quad's OSD flickers and shows battery voltage dropping to 3.3. What should I be looking for? Does it happen with more than one battery? If it happens with just one battery, you got a bad battery. The next thing I would look at, if it happens with multiple batteries, is the soldering of the XT60 and the XT60 wires on the ESC or the flight controller. The fact that the battery voltage is, I don't know about the OSD flickering, but the battery voltage dropping is significant. And I would be checking the wiring of the XT60, the ESC. You want to figure out if the battery is actually sagging out or if there's something restricting the voltage to the flight controller. So that's what I would say. Shadow Hunter says, somehow I ripped a resistor off my Tracer Nano X receiver. How can I test if it still works? I mean, send it, right? I don't know. I mean, either it's going to work or it doesn't. Plug it in. Cross your fingers. You could ask TBS, and they might be able to tell you, no, that's mandatory. And Shadow Hunter, now I've answered your question, and you can stop asking it every 30 seconds. I'm gonna put you in timeout. Shadow Hunter, you're in timeout. Could it be a nicked wire somewhere? DC US 55? That's unlikely. Unless the wire was like almost completely severed, I don't think you'd be seeing that kind of voltage drop. That's my take. So, yeah, you could also theoretically have a short circuit. Like if your ESC was damaged or you had a damaged motor, you could have a short circuit, but not like a complete dead short that's causing enough current flow and voltage drop. But in that case, something would be hot. Something would be hot. Like if you have a thermal camera I mean, you probably don't, but if you had a thermal camera, you could look at the quad and see, like, is one motor super hot or is some part of the frame super hot, indicating short circuit and current flow. Hyun Young says, is GPS rescue and Betaflight altitude dependent? No. Or does it just depend on the distance being at least 100 meters? Yes. But there's more. He says, sometimes I read a GPS rescue and it just disarms right in the air. So Betaflight has a series of what they call sanity checks. And the sanity checks when GPS rescue is happening are how Betaflight tries to see if any, like Betaflight doesn't want to just fly the quad to the moon or fly the quad into your face. And so the sanity checks are how Betaflight is like, is everything kind of going okay? GPS, are you working? And anytime any sanity check fails, it just disarms. So one of the sanity checks might be that you lost satellites. You had 8 sats, and then for whatever reason, while you were doing GPS rescue, you only have 4 sats. And Betaflight's like, nope, I'm done. There are other sanity checks. And the problem is that the first problem is that because Betaflight doesn't have a true, like, return to home GPS loiter, GPS rescue is extremely rudimentary. When GPS rescue fails, Betaflight doesn't do something intelligent like loiter, like auto land, or whatever. And the other problem is that because GPS rescue is basically an afterthought in Betaflight, you don't necessarily have a barometer, a compass, a GPS, and the code is not very good at all. So the chances of something going wrong and Betaflight going, I don't like this, and then it just disarms, that's just way more likely with Betaflight GPS rescue than it is with something like iNav or like a DJI quad where they have put a lot of effort into it. So the problem is that one of your sanity checks failed, the quad disarmed, and there's nothing you can do. In fact, if I could make one change in Betaflight's GPS rescue today, it would be to put the sanity check in the OSD. You know how, like, when you try to arm the quad and the quad refuses to arm and it tells you why it's refusing to arm, it'll say throttle or, whatever, run away. We need the warning OSD element to tell us which sanity check failed. Betaflight devs, get on that. Cool. Anyway. Ice Clemmer, thank you for a $5 super chat. Thank you for all your work. I just built my first quad. Your videos helped me a lot. So that's a little thank you. Really appreciate it. Thank you, Ice Clemmer, for the $5. Oh my God. Oh my God. Fabio, you're a mod, dude. You can time him out. Time him out. Put him in timeout. If they're asking the same question every 30 seconds and spamming the chat, timeout. Boom. Don't spam the chat. You're a mod, dude. You have the power. You don't have to, but you can. 1IFPV says, warning doesn't work on DJI, so we will never know. Warning can work on DJI. You know, one of the things, you know, there's a custom build of Betaflight that changes the pilot name to be the warning OSD element. You have to flash it, but I have a video about how to do it. One of the things I didn't mention in my review of the Evoque, because there was just too much stuff, is that iFlight is shipping the Nazgul and the Nazgul Evoque, and maybe other quads, I don't know. They're shipping them with the custom build of Betaflight that makes the warning OSD element work. They ship them set up with the warning element working. That's amazing. Well done. Mr. Nate, 2468, thank you for a $5 super chat. Can I wire the Caddx Peanut to my Babyhawk 2 HD if my TX pads are taken by the Caddx Vista and the Crossfire? But you Mr. Nate, first of all, you don't need to use the remote switch. You can just push the button on the Peanut or use Wi-Fi. I used Wi-Fi when I was working with the Peanut. I always wanted to, because here's the thing about the Peanut. I didn't mention this in the review. Maybe I should have. The Peanut doesn't remember the mode that it was in when you power it up. It always goes back to the same mode. And the way that it powers up, you decide in the app what the button press does that powers it up. So you can decide that a single button press is record pro video, etc. But I don't trust that, and I always just powered it up and then used the app. And that let me check my framing and just check that all the settings were correct before I recorded. So fine. So I personally don't think that the Betaflight aux switch is the best way to work with the Caddx Peanut to start and stop recording. However, to answer your question, you generally can't use the buzzer pad as a pin IO. So the answer to that is no. You won't be able to pin IO it. Unlimited Vertical asks, is the Caddx Peanut water resistant like the Insta360 Go 2? Someone in the comments complained that the Peanut was not water resistant. I'm not sure why that would be, because the Peanut and the Insta360 Go 2 are pretty much the same. But the Peanut does have a different case. I don't know that. I can tell you that someone thinks that it's not water resistant. It's not as water resistant, says Daltz. Do you have more information about that? I don't know about that. Raven187 says the button. They did change the button. They changed the button on the Peanut because they thought the Insta360 Go 2 button was too easy to press by accident. Yeah. So the button makes it less water resistant. Interesting. Okay. Because you can formal code it. You can't formal code a button. No. What's the best way to program a button in OpenTX to delete the flash memory logs? L. Leston. L. Leston, that is actually way easier than you think. I assume you mean the Blackbox logs on the flight controller. Assuming that you do. Here in Betaflight, any day now, Betaflight will connect. Come on. There we go. I knew you'd come around to your senses. In Betaflight, we go to the Modes tab, and one of the modes that we have available to us is Blackbox Erase. There we go. Blackbox Erase. So if you just set up a Blackbox Erase aux mode and then flip that aux switch, it will erase the black box for you. Boom, just like that. Bear in mind that that takes about 30 seconds to a minute or maybe a little longer. And while it's doing that, you cannot use your quad at all. But that is what you want. Punks Dallas, thank you for a $10 super chat. Appreciate that. Punks Dallas says, I'm looking to buy a GoPro for my 5-inch. Best Buy doesn't sell the Hero 7 anymore. RIP. Amazon does, but I wasn't sure about the protection plan. Any feedback? Yeah. So when I buy electronics from Amazon, like GoPros, I buy the Assurion plan. Assurion, Asurion. And you can buy that straight from Amazon at the same time that you buy the camera. I haven't done an Assurion claim in some time, so I don't know for sure if like things have changed, but way back when, before I started buying GoPros, I did several claims on my Xiaomi Yi, and it was pretty easy. Most of the time, they just gave me a credit on my Amazon account and said, send in the camera. Once they said, we need to take a look at the camera, and I sent it in, and then they like looked at it for 3 days, and then they gave me a gift card, an Amazon gift card. So I've had good results with Assurion, although you would want to do a little bit more research to find out if you feel good about that. I currently have 2 Hero 7s. Are they Hero 7s? I think they're 7s. I currently have 2 GoPros that I bought from Amazon that have Assurion insurance. So, I mean, I stand behind that. I also do it. Mohammed Shah says, I've done Assurion claims and they do work well. Camera Expressions wants to know, how long can you go before changing your lipos to storage charge? Is it a week, 2 weeks, or does it need to be changed right away? So here's the thing. Every amount of time that a battery spends away from its nominal voltage, it is losing performance. A LiPo at storage voltage, 3.8 volts per cell, can be stored, assuming it's not like, if you store it in 140 degree heat, the heat will damage it. But if it's stored at like a room temperature at 3.8 volts per cell, it will essentially not degrade at all for a very long time. It's one of the beautiful things about lithium chemistry. That's not true for lead acid batteries, which have to be like topped off and trickle charged and maintained and desulfated and I don't know what else. So whenever a lithium battery is at full charge, it is experiencing a slow and continuous reduction in its performance. Basically, you can think of it like the internal resistance is going up over time. So the question is it 1 day? Is it 2 days? Is it 2 weeks? It doesn't matter, because let's say that you left a battery at full charge for 2 whole weeks, 14 days. And then you put it at storage voltage and you set it aside. And you had another battery that you left fully charged for 1 full day, and then you discharged it. And you did that 14 times. Okay? Those batteries would experience roughly the same performance degradation from being left at full charge. It's just how much time has the battery spent fully charged in its lifetime. Now, other things also cause performance degradation. So discharging and charging a battery also degrades its performance. Not a lot. Like if you have a LiPo and you discharge it at 1C, a very, very gentle discharge. You discharge it at 1C down to 3.5 volts per cell. Then you charge it at 1C to 4.2 volts per cell. You can get 500 cycles out of a LiPo under those conditions, under ideal conditions. Maybe a little more, maybe only 200, maybe more. But that's not what we do, right? When we discharge our LiPos, we thrash the hell out of them. We're discharging 160 amps, 80 amps, so the discharge and charge cycles will also degrade a LiPo's performance. So those 2 batteries, the one that sat at full charge for 2 weeks and the one that was used 14 times and left fully charged 1 day at a time, They won't really. One will have more cycles on it. But what I'm saying is, the way I think about it is, over the life of the battery, how much performance degradation are you willing to accept from leaving it at full charge? Let's say you've got a battery and you're going to, in 30 cycles, you're going to smash it into the wall of a bando and blow it up. Like, let's say you're the kind of person who never has a battery last 50 cycles. You're just that violently reckless. At that point, leave your batteries fully charged all you want. They're not going to be alive. Live fast, die young, whatever the saying is, right? Who cares? It doesn't matter. If you're somebody whose batteries last a long time, you're going to want to be more conservative about that. I heard a test where someone said that they saw 5% reduction in performance after 30 days at full charge. It's the only test I know of where it was from lipobench.de was the website. It's the only test I know of where someone like quantitatively tested the effect of having a battery fully charged. And so that's my rule of thumb. 5% reduction in performance over 30 days. It doesn't matter if that's 30 days all at once or one day 30 times. And you just decide from there how you feel about it. Personally, 1 or 2 days is what it will, then I'll put them back at storage. All right. There you go. Good question. Huff19 in the Discord wants to know, would batteries used for racing degrade quicker versus a battery used for cruising? Yeah, I think they would, Huff19. Although, you know, who knows? But batteries that are discharged harder and faster will be more likely to puff, heat up, etc. than batteries discharged gently. 1IFPV in the Discord says, when JB says a LiPo is discharged at 160 amps, he means amp hours, right? No, I mean amps. I mean, you're pulling a peak of 160 amps when you go full throttle and punch out. For some quads, maybe you're pulling that much. I'm not talking about amp hours. I'm talking about instantaneous current. So, CNAX FPV wants to know how I mount my drones on the wall. 3M command hooks and rubber bands. The rubber band goes around the motor, and the 3M command hooks stick on the wall. Shadow Hunter, not a problem. I appreciate the question. Just a little too persistent with the with how often you're asking the question. Like, I get it. If you don't repeat your question at all, I probably won't see it. Just statistically, there are too many questions and not enough time. It's just a line where you've asked too much, and that line is where the rest of the chat starts yelling at you. No hard feelings, man. No hard feelings. Speedy Turtle FPV. Speedy Turtle FPV. Have you got a website, dude? We covered your Speedy Cares package. There we go. Speedy Turtle FPV leaves a $5 super chat saying the Speedy Cares package is doing good. You should be a part of it. Speedy Cares is apparently I'm not your patron. I'm just trying to look up info about your Speedy Cares package. Where can I find information about that, man? We covered it on... The #1 search result for the Speedy Cares package is when me and Blunty covered it on the news. I guess I should be flattered. Day at the Range's Patreon! Oh, boy. Remember those days? Ha! Okay. We'll go. That's cool. Speedy Cares. Where's Speedy Cares? There's Speedy... Oh, he's got a Discord. I see. So Speedy Turtle does a thing called the Speedy Cares package, where it's basically you get a box with a bunch of FPV crap in it. You take something out of the box, then you put something in the box. Basically, you mail the box to the next person in the list. So it's a pretty cool little thing. He has a Discord and a Patreon. In keeping with the reference to A Day at the Range, A Day at the Range was a person we talked about on the news, and I talked about on my live streams, and then he started a Patreon, and I talked about his Patreon. For the record, I did not endorse or advocate for joining his Patreon. I feel like I want to be real clear about that. But I did talk about it. And then he took everybody's money and disappeared and didn't deliver. So I try to be real freaking clear the next time I talk about somebody's Patreon that I'm not endorsing it. I'm only endorsing my Patreon, which you definitely should join. But Speedy has a Patreon and a Discord server. You can participate in the Speedy Cares package. Quadrophenia wants to know, when do you bin lipos? When do you bin lipos? When is it time to get rid of a lipo? I have a couple of hard lines about when I bin the lipo. One of them is if the silver outside of the cell, not the plastic or the paper or the sticker, but the actual cell lining itself is punctured. That's a line for me. That's a line. Like sometimes it'll get nicked or punctured and it seems like the battery's fine. Nope. That's my line. I don't know. That's just it. The next one is if the battery is visibly deformed, like it's just gotten dented or something, like there's a point where I'm just like, no, forget it. If it's like literally tacoed in half, nah, forget it. But some batteries can take a little bit of a bang. And what I'll do is I'll check the internal resistance. And if the internal, I learned this from Stingy, by the way. Stingy gave me this tip. Credit where credit's due. R.I.P. Stingy. He's not dead. He just got married and had a kid. And now it's gone. If the internal resistance of the cells is basically normal, then even if the battery's a little dented or deformed, I'll use it. If a battery gets dented or deformed and one of the cells has a crazy internal resistance, or anytime one of the cells has a crazy internal resistance, I'll get rid of it. And the other thing is, anytime a battery, a cell goes below 3.0 volts. If I'm flying and at the very end of the pack, it sags below 3.0 volts and I immediately disarm and it comes right back up to like 3.1 volts and stays there, I might recharge that battery. But if it goes below 3 volts and then I disarm and then it goes and it keeps going down, it's it. It's done. It's done. It's done. So those are the things that tell me it's time to get rid of a battery. How do I dispose of them? I discharge them and I throw them away. I throw them in the trash. Well, what about the environment? Hold on. Like lead batteries. Lead batteries, there's actually a core charge that you pay when you get the battery and you get back when you return the battery. Lead is like bad for the environment and gets into the water and is bad, okay? From what I hear, and I've tried to look this up, it is not bad for the environment to throw away lithium batteries. Like, I mean, it's not probably like, we could argue about e-waste and say, look, there's too much waste in our society, right? That's a separate question of, is it specifically bad to throw away lithium batteries? Near as I can tell from any source I've been able to find, lithium batteries are not, they're okay to dispose. You discharge them so they don't light on fire, but then they're okay to dispose of in the trash. For a while, I would take them in, like to recycle them at the store. You can recycle them, but I ended up with a giant box of like 40 lipos. I'm not exaggerating. And I would open the box to put a new lipo in and it would smell like electrolyte, you know, that fruity smell. And I was like, I'm not going to bring this into a store and try to recycle it. And I was just like, all right, forget it. I threw them away. Oh, that's lazy. Okay. Take them to a Batteries Plus and dispose of them properly. Yeah, okay. There are things that I find time to care about and things that I don't. And that's one of the things that I don't. So. John Doe says, I ran a 6S LiPo down to 9 volts, slow charged it on a NiCad setting, and it came back. So, John, here's the thing. That's one of those things that people do and mostly get away with it. I do not advocate for that. I do not recommend it, and I do not endorse it. Because once a battery is resting below 3 volts, I don't mean it sagged below 3 volts and came back. I mean, that's still not great for it. But if you leave the battery to sit overnight and you come back the next morning and it's all the cells are above 3 volts, I feel like that indicates that the battery is fundamentally in a stable state. But I've had batteries that I was flying. It sags down to whatever, a 6S battery sags to like 12 or 14 volts. I'm like, oh crap! And I disarm. And I come back the next day and one of the cells is at 1.2 volts. Stop. Could you put that on a charger in nickel cadmium mode and limp it back to 3 volts? Maybe. You're literally playing with fire when you do that. And cue the people in the comments going, what are you talking about? Bardwell's he's such a fraidy cat. Oh, Bardwell. Oh, okay, Dad. I do that all the time. I've done it 100 times. It's never been an issue. Okay, good luck. And then one of you is the guy who says, yeah, battery lit on fire in the middle of the night. I have no idea why. I just feel like the risk versus reward is not worth it there. So that's what I say about that. And as Ciotti points out, you can limp them back above 3 volts. You will always see an increase in internal resistance. The battery will be more likely to get out of balance. A lot of times the battery will just be crappy. Like maybe you could use that battery to power your goggles since it's not a high amp discharge. But honestly, I don't think it's worth it. So I know that people do it. And I hate to sound like I'm cool. I'm cool. Yeah, let's go skateboard and recharge our lipos with the nickel cadmium mode. Cool, yeah, let's do it. Sure, give me a hit off that funny cigarette. I don't know. I don't want to be lame. Like, it's not that I'm fundamentally risk averse. It's just I don't think the risk versus reward for that one. Because you can't know whether that's going to be the lipo that's like, fuck this guy, and lights on fire and burns your house down. It's not worth it. You should put it out of its misery. Okay. Matthew Sharon, thank you for 40 Canadian dollars. He says, thank you for your wealth of knowledge that you share and teach to random strangers on the internet. I've learned things over many months and finally purchased my first quad. Now to go crash it repeatedly. Practice in the simulator. Don't crash your real quad. Practice in the simulator. Crash in the simulator. Sean Carrig wants to know where he can buy replacement switches for his TX16S. How about in the USA FPV crate? Let's see if they're actually in stock. Nope. All right. Screw you. Is it Hobby Porter who sells them? Who makes the radio? I think Hobby Porter is the distributor. No, they're a wholesale distributor. Oh, no, they are the manufacturer. Where can you buy? Where can you buy them? Defiance RC says in stock. I don't believe you. Oh, is it really in stock? No. Well, blow me down, as Popeye used to say. All right, Defiance RC is the answer. Defiance RC. That's where to get a Radio Master. Yeah. Apparently, they have them in stock. Go figure. Go buy yourself a whole set because they're out of stock quite often. Although it's $7 a pop, maybe not. Aiden, the prop maker, wants to know what's the best quad overall. That's like asking what's the best car overall. Just depends on your priorities and your needs. So you have to be more specific. Dacio Souza says, if I plug a 4S battery into a 5-inch quad, what kind of trouble will I have? Do you mean a 6S quad? The question you've asked doesn't really make sense. If I plug a 4S battery into a 5-inch quad, a 5-inch quad could be made for 4S, could be made for 6S. It doesn't really matter. So I think I don't understand your question. Jack Lenoir says, Joshua Bardwell is probably going to think I'm a mad lad. I had a Lipo was at 2.7 to 2.8 volts per cell for all cells. It was like that for probably a few months. I charged it and it flew just fine. Yeah, the thing is, like, I don't want to harp on this, but like, you could ride oh my God, lots of people ride motorcycles without helmets and think they're, you know, I'm going to use that as the example, even though it's not a perfect example. You can ride a motorcycle without a helmet. And most of the time when you do it, you won't die. But there's a cost versus benefit analysis that you have to make. And for me, the fact that usually when you recover a Lipo from below 3 volts, it doesn't burn your house down, doesn't make me feel any better about it. Usually, so this is, and you know what? I mean, this is from the guy who stores his Lipos in a metal cabinet instead of in like a bat safe box. So, I mean, I'm not perfect, right? But frankly, it's because I'm freaking paranoid about Lipo safety that I so far feel comfortable not storing my Lipos in fireproof containers. Because I feel like any Lipo that is suspicious, Lipos, you know, generally don't light on fire until you damage them. So, anyway, that's my take. Here's the thing. If you store your Lipos in a fire-safe box at home and you recovered a Lipo from under 3 volts, you may actually be on the whole more safe than I am. Because I don't store them in a fire-safe box. Because that just seems annoying. But I also don't. Anyway, there you go. Moving on. We're not going to just spend all stream talking about Lipos. Unless you want to. No. FPV Dartion, thank you for 5 New Zealand dollars. Are there any legit Session 5 replacements? I just smashed my Session and my Orca. Same tree, same day, same trick. If you use Sessions, man, it's time to move on. Getting used Sessions is getting harder and harder. There is no legit Session 5 replacement. The RunCam 5 Orange may be the closest you can get today. I mentioned the RunCam 5 Orange because there's a firmware you can get for it that lets it work with GyroFlow. It stores the gyro data so it can work with, I guess it's GyroFlow. Which is a third-party stabilization utility, which people are excited about. Sessions, though, I mean, I've just bit the bullet and am going with Heroes and accepting the wait because I don't like the image quality of the RunCam 5 Orange. It's just not up to my standards. You can get them on eBay. Ciati says eBay. Can you get them on eBay? I mean, not cheap. Let's see. eBay. Don't look at my search history. I don't know what I would have bought on eBay. Hero 5 Session. Okay, eBay, way to go. Your website is super fast. Okay, we'll be back in 5 minutes when eBay loads. I don't know what it's doing. Oh, there we go. Just loaded. Hero 5 Session 4K action camera. That doesn't add up. The picture, it says $300 for it. There is no Hero 5 Session in that picture. So what do you, I don't know. This feels like a scam or something. There's a whole bunch of GoPro shit. None of it is a Session. I would not bid on this auction. Hero 5 Session, $229. Hero 5 Session, that looks like the same. Hero 5 Session, brand new, sealed, $2,000! Or best offer. I would not bid on that. Hero 5 Session pre-owned, $172. Maybe it's in good shape, maybe it's not. Yeah, Buy it now, $229.95. Okay. So these are all used. Brand new, $550. I guess you can still get them, but boy, I stopped buying sessions. I bought a refurbished session, and when I got it, it didn't power up. And it wasn't refurbished it didn't come from GoPro. It came from some third party. And I was like, oh, so that was it for me. I basically spent whatever, $200 on a refurbished session that I just died. So we got 2 Phantom FPVs in here. Damn. Phantom _FPV. Says Joshua, my drone disarmed mid-flight today. I have no idea why. It happened both flights. I've had the drone for 2 days. Phantom, you need to get the Betaflight warning that will tell you why it disarmed. Probably it was a failsafe. Assuming you're using analog, Betaflight has a warning OSD element that will tell you what happened. If you have DVR, we could check the DVR. So, Run Puppy FPV says he saw an original air unit for $300. Damn. If you want just the air unit without the camera, I could do you a deal. Speedy Turtle, thanks for another $5, mentioning my awesome website and Patreon. Well, since Speedy Turtle left a super chat, I have an obligation to tell you about my website, which includes the Ultimate FPV shopping list, which has all my product recommendations in various categories, including some new categories: 5-inch freestyle, 5-inch racing, and 4-inch freestyle. We've started breaking the quad parts recommendation out by category because the recommendations are different on different categories. I really need, hey, if anybody can email me, I need more recommendations for bind and fly 4-inch freestyle. There aren't many. I'd love to have more than just the shocker. A good bind and fly. There's 4-inch cruisers, but I mean like a 4-inch freestyle. I don't know. Bind and fly. Anyway, if you have a recommendation, email me. Federico Agu, thank you for our 100, I believe it's Argentinian pesos. I'm having serious issues with gyro noise. This only happens on 6S. I've installed 2 capacitors, still the same. It doesn't happen on 4S. Oh, it's a 4S build with motor output limit. I mean, I hate to tell you, but that could be the problem. You're running, whatever, 2700, 2400 kV motors on 6S with a motor output limit. I feel like, I mean, that doesn't always work. Ciati, shut up. I know that many people think it works almost all the time. I feel like that's probably your issue. You have gyro noise on 6S, but not 4S, and you're using high kV motors. That motor output limit isn't perfect. So maybe your motors just aren't suited for that application. I would say do one of 2 things, Federico. Replace your flight controller and your ESC and cross your fingers that the new one has like a better filtered gyro, or replace your motors with proper kV motors. Like, that's just not 100% reliable, is what I would say. People are suggesting, Redtail FPV suggests the Reckon 4 Freestyle. Let's look at that. Reckon 4 FR. Oh, create a sub 250 gram freestyle. Interesting. All right, that looks interesting. It doesn't have, the thing is, it doesn't have to be sub 250 though. It doesn't have to be sub 250. Ciati, he says he put 2 caps on it. Diatone Roma F35. So that's not a 4-inch. That's a sub 250 3-inch. Now I do have a page we're working on for sub 250, and it includes 3.5-inch. I actually have considered the Roma F35 for that page. Is that any good? Is it good? Let's think about that. I've considered adding this, but I haven't personally flown it, so got to figure it out. Anyway. KCFPV, thank you for a $10 super chat. When I arm, one motor doesn't spin until I unplug and plug back in. It's your ESC. Your ESC has a problem. If what you should do is pinch the motor that doesn't spin in your fingers. Plug the battery in. Feel the beeps. Do you feel nothing? That means the ESC didn't power up at all. Do you feel doot? That means the ESC is not talking to the flight controller. Or do you feel all 5 beeps? That's how you always troubleshoot motors. Ciati, I agree with you. Ciati FPV, man, you and I are on the same page so often. 4-inch freestyle shouldn't be sub 250. That light of a build with those big props, it flies like a toothpick, which IMO isn't freestyle. I basically agree with you, Ciati. I do have to say, I flew the 250 and I liked it. You're not wrong. You're not wrong that it feels kind of light and floaty, but it was pretty good. I do think there's a place for sub 250 freestyle. Yeah, and if there's a place for sub 250 5-inch, then there's a place for sub 250 4-inch. I feel like for sub 250 freestyle 3 and 3.5 inch is the perfect place. But the 250 is so good, I make an exception for it. But I think a 4-inch freestyle and a 5-inch should be more than 250 grams. Ciati says put 3.5-inch props on your 250. You'll love it. Interesting. Maybe I'll give that a try. We have not announced the winners of the GoPro yet. In fact, the stupid video is still processing. So the problem I had was I edited this video. Check this out. I edited this video in YouTube. YouTube has a built-in editor that lets you, basically, you can cut out clips. And do you see the audio here? The audio disappeared for some parts of it. I have no idea why. So I was like, well, crap. So then I went in and I undid the edit. And now it's stuck in processing for like 2 days. That won't affect the drawing of the winners. But it is annoying to have the video offline. The reason I cut part of it out was I felt like we were a little bit unfair. Well, we left out a couple of serious things about the gravity loss frame. We didn't mention that they have a lifetime warranty on the arms. We just missed that. You said it's not a full review. It's just a quick react and first impression. So, but I felt like that was a pretty big oversight. And the arms on the gravity loss frame are made from a special kind of carbon fiber. It's not a carbon fiber sandwich. It's a tube, basically. I was like, oh, well, we should have mentioned that. Didn't notice that. So I cut the section of the gravity loss frame out of the roundup. And when I did that, YouTube made like half my audio just disappear. And people were like, why is there no audio? And I was like, oh shit. So I took the video down. I reverted the change. And now it's just stuck in editing. So probably what I'm going to do is just re-upload it. I'm probably just going to re-upload it and cut the gravity loss section out, which was annoying because you guys will just have to see it twice, but there you go. Yeah. Anyway, that's the story. But the drawing is unaffected. The drawing is unaffected. So. Fabio, the audio was fine on the export. It's only after I sliced out the section in YouTube that the audio disappeared. Okay. Stid FPV, thank you for a $5 super chat. Have you watched Ryan Quellett's latest video? I think you got your wish. They're working on a 1,000 milliwatt VTX for Sharkbite. Stid, Ryan has confirmed. Actually, I knew they were working on a 1,000 milliwatt VTX, but I didn't want to confirm the rumors because that had been told to me in confidence. I knew that there were public rumors because I had heard the rumors before it was confirmed to me in private that they were working on a 1 watt VTX. So since I already knew about the rumors, I felt comfortable saying that there are rumors of it, but I just didn't want to confirm it. And then they confirmed it publicly. So they are working on a 1 watt VTX. Mr. Nate, 2468, thank you for a $5 super chat. Thank you, sir. He says, I appreciate your knowledge that you share with us. Super chats are going crazy. Thank you guys for your generosity. I'm going to keep reading them. Camera Expressions, thanks for a $5 super chat. Just saying thanks for your help. Grizz FPV, thanks for a $20 super chat. That's a big one. Thanks for the help. I asked a question about yaw wobbles, and increasing the D term helped it a lot. Still trying to get it dialed in. Glad I was able to help you. Appreciate that, your generosity. DQ, the drawing is over. The drawing cutoff is over. Casey Rensel, thank you for a $10 super chat. I just set up Immersion RC Ghost today and saw that 300 hertz is available now. Is that true? Thank God I got away from FreeSky R9. Any tips for Ghost would be appreciated. Yeah, Casey, I do believe that they updated one of the modes to 300 hertz, although they might have changed it back because they're having problems. The thing to do is to look at the Ghost instruction manual. Ghost has a great manual online, and it goes through all of the different... There's so many Ghost flight modes right now at different packet rates and with and without telemetry and with different ranges. So you really just need to check the instruction manual to see what you're getting. But I do think they have 300 hertz. Sean Carrig, thank you for a $5 super chat. Bradley Powell, thank you for a $10 super chat. I'm new to this. I just want to say thanks for all you've taught me. I'm building your perfect freestyle quad. Yay! Thank God Bob Rugi's motors are back in stock. I'm going to got everything but your flight controller. Yeah, my flight controller's out of stock. We got another order coming. Unfortunately, the next order will be like $75 because the prices went up. Sorry about that. But nothing we could do. The alternative was just to stop making it. I was like, no, don't do that. Shaya Sonnenberg wants to know the best way to check a cell's internal resistance. Shaya, the best way to do it is with the Wayne Giles internal resistance meter. Now, you're not going to buy that. I mean, you might, but... The Wayne Giles, I think it's Giles and not Giles. The Wayne Giles or Giles internal resistance meter, can you still buy it? January 2017. Oh, wow. I don't even know if you can still buy it. Well, there you go. Nope. I don't think you can get it anymore. So the best way to do it is with your charger. Most chargers today will measure internal resistance either as a separate program or while charging, and that's how to do it. Miguel T, thank you for a $10 super chat. How far back am I? Oh, not that far. Miguel T built about 20 micros successfully and had 3 consecutive flight controllers fail on you. My soldering skills are decent. Our flight controller's just not reliable. I mean, was it the same flight controller? Maybe you just got unlucky and they had a bad batch. I don't know if I would blame myself. I will say that especially with the component shortages that are going on right now, companies may be maybe struggling to get parts in stock. So, yeah. It may just be that components are a little less reliable now. So, it probably isn't you if you've built 20 micros. So I would just, I would probably just not buy that flight controller again. or for like a couple years. Will Valentine, Joshua Bardwell, JBF7. Will Valentine, the video you're looking for is the JBF7 is finally here. Just search for JBF7 and there's my video about it. See you later, Fabio. Fabio says I've got to work tomorrow. I don't know about that. Oh, I don't know if I've sent him any stuff to edit. Brandon RC, hang on, Brandon RC is on the Discord server. Vanover I was on a Rotor Riot shoot with Vanover. Vanover had a beat up quad that he was mad at, and he said, I'm done with this quad. I'm gonna junk it. And I said, why don't you give it away to somebody? Somebody would take your beat up. And he was like, eh. I was like, come on, Vanover. I kind of feel a little bit bad. Maybe I cajoled him a little too much. It's his quad. But he gave me his quad, and I said, I'll do it a giveaway. But I just thought, somebody would like his quad. Well, he was right. Brandon RC. Brandon, give me a better picture than this. Do you have a better picture, Brandon? I know you do. Brandon RC in my Discord received that quad in a giveaway and put it in a freaking light box and got Vanover to sign it. And he was saying, Brandon said, I asked Bardwell to sign it, but he wouldn't sign it. And that's true, although I did send Brandon one of the original JB motor prototypes for the record. Brandon's showing that in the Discord too. I just want to say, Brandon, I didn't sign it, not because I'm too stuck up to sign anything. I know that's not what you were saying. I just didn't feel right signing Vanover's quad. You see what I mean? So I sent him the motor instead. Anyway, the rest. Oh, here we go. We got a better picture. This is what Brandon did with Vanover's trashed quad. Yeah, pretty cool. Brandon also built an exact replica of that quad. Brand new. He built it and crashed it in a lake. And then had to get scuba divers from the local fire department to come get it out of the lake. So, whole lot of fun was had. Thank you, Brandon. I sent one motor. Yeah, no, I didn't have a whole set to send. It was like it's a souvenir. It's a memorabilia. It's one of the original prototypes. It's the original prototypes that Get FPV sent me when we were developing the motor. I mean, that's... Yeah, here... Oh, Brandon's got all the pictures. Here are the divers trying to find his Vanover quad in the lake. And here is... I don't know what the hell we're looking at here. Some equipment. Yeah. Anyway. One IFPV says, wow, those firefighters must not have had any fires to fight. Well, they need training. Basically, it's their training. When firefighters come and get your cat out of a tree, I mean, I'm not going to say they're not doing it out of the goodness of their hearts, because firefighters are fundamentally amazing people. But it's also just training time. They need training. So I imagine they just booked it as training time. I went and did some underwater recovery. Anyway. So. Brandon RC said this was back during the start of COVID, so they didn't have a lot of fires to fight. Okay. Let's continue. Thank you, Brandon, for that. That's always a fun story. I'm glad you're still around on the server too, Brandon. I remember that was a while back, and you're still there, still participating, still a patron. It's nice when people stick around. A lot of times people come, they join the server, a few months later they kind of go idle. That's cool, I understand, but it's nice when people stick around. Jake H, thank you for a $5 super chat. I want a ready-to-fly Cinewoop with air unit that can do a little freestyle, mainly used for filming with a GoPro. Money is no object. What should I get? Ciati! Jake, I can give you an opinion based on what I see other pros using. I am not a Cinewoop pro. I don't fly Cinewoops for my day job, and I should defer to people who do. I think, especially if you're going to carry a GoPro, the Shendrone's Terraplane is the one to get. Shendrone's Terraplane is a little bit bigger Cinewoop, designed to help carry the weight of a GoPro 9 or GoPro 10, okay? If your main goal is to carry a GoPro, you say can do a little freestyle, mainly used for filming. I mean, if you crash this, it's not going to crash as well as the TPU ducts on the Squirt, but it'll probably be okay. Now, the thing is, nobody sells this bind and fly. And I assume when you say, I want it ready to fly, that you don't want to build it. But you also said money is no object. So, like, if you call Rotor Riot sells the squirt. If you call Rotor Riot, call their 800 number and say, hi, it's Tyler, Rotor Riot support. What can I do for you? Say, listen, Tyler, I want to buy a bind and fly Cinewoop. Okay, yes, sir, we can do that for you. I want a Terraplane. Now, I know you guys don't sell that, but money is no object. What'll it cost you to build me a Terraplane? Then I'll build you a Terraplane. Ciati, you want to build this guy a Terraplane? You're too busy. You're too busy to do it, even when money is no object. Yeah, Nurk likes the Terraplane a lot. Ciati says he prefers lightweight Cinesplore builds. They're really accurate indoors. Yeah, do they carry a GoPro, Ciati, or do you use a naked GoPro, though? He didn't say indoor, is the other thing. Speedy Turtle says he'd build it for $50. Don't accept that. Anybody who will build a quad for less than... Anybody who's going to build a quad for less than $40 an hour in labor is either undercharging themselves or ripping you off because they're going to do a crappy job. That's my take. That's my take. Just my take, though. All right. The Terraplane. So what about an actual ready-to-fly, Ciati? Ciati says Cinesplore. Oh, that's FPV Cycle. Do they sell that ready-to-fly? Okay. I see. So Ciati likes the FPV Cycle Cinesplore, and frankly... does the Cinesplore carry a full air unit, Ciati? Does it carry... It probably does. Bannister Post says, yeah, but how many hours to build it? A good builder who is really cranking them out could build a whole quad in about 2 hours, is my take. You got to really be cranking them out, though, to do it in under 2 hours. I think 3 hours is pretty normal for building. RC Addict says, can someone actually get paid to build quads? Yeah, you get paid to do anything. If you're providing a service, you should be paid for your time and your labor and your skills and your knowledge. How long does it take to build a quad? I remember talking to the guy from Indestructible Quads. I'm not going to remember his name without looking it up. It's on the tip of my tongue. And he built ready-to-flies, and he said he could do like 4 in a day, which means in an 8-hour day, he's got it under 2 hours, and that included test fly. That's fast, okay? And that's complete, not just the build, but also the Betaflight configuration. Although if you're building the same quadcopter again and again and again, the Betaflight configuration is pretty easy. Yeah, so... If you can get a quad from parts to a hover to a test hover in under 2 hours, I think that's very fast. I think 3 to 4 hours is more typical. K Shu, I think was his name. That's right. Do you need a 107 to charge for building a drone? No. You only need a 107 to fly a drone in the national airspace. If you build the drone and you test hover it in your house, you have never flown it in the national airspace. Now, if you are test flying a drone that you built to sell, is that a commercial flight? Wow. Because you're selling the drone, you're not selling the flight. I think still it's in furtherance of a business, and you would need a 107. That's what I would say. All right. So I think, Jake H., going back to your question, I think, Jake, you should consider the Terraplane if you want something a little bigger. you should consider the FPV Cycle Cinesplore. These are two of the best Cinewoop frames that are used by actual professionals in the real world. Every other Cinewoop you find, like iFlight Bumblebee, this is a fine quad, right? iFlight. This is a fine quad. Nothing is like wrong with it. But all of the bind and fly and ready to flies are, they're not as good as what you're going to get if you build one of those yourself. Floppy Prop says, does that mean you need a 107 for YouTube? Yes. If your YouTube is monetized, yes. For 100%, you need a 107. Yep. Grizz FPV says he can build and set up a quad in an hour and a half. Grizz, I want to see your build. No offense. That's fast as crap, dude. I mean, you could just be that good. But if somebody said to me, I can build you a quad in an hour and a half, I'd be like, all right, well, do it. And let me see your solder joints when you're done. Because it has to be good in addition to fast. Maybe yours is. Maybe yours is. Maybe yours is. I'm not saying. If you can build a quad in an hour and a half, that's pretty fast. That's, I think, a typical person building, like, I mean, I'm not talking about like a Chinese sweatshop. No offense, China. I'm talking about like just a typical person who sits down to build a quad. I think 3 to 4 hours is more typical. DJI builds are faster. That's true. Ciati says it takes him about 6 hours to do a build. The first time I do a build, it takes me 2 weeks because I buy the wrong damn parts. And then I have to buy different parts. Okay. Big Data Pimp thinks the FAA says you need a 107 even if you're not monetized. Here's the thing, Big Data Pimp, the key phrase is in furtherance of a business interest. I don't know if that's the FAA's exact wording, but that's the concept. So if I fly a drone for my brother who is a real estate agent, and I do some real estate photography for him, even if I don't get paid, my flight was in furtherance of a business interest, and I should have a 107. But I don't think there's an interpretation that says that if you upload a video to YouTube, the fact that YouTube is a business who makes money off your intent at the time of the flight is what the FAA looks at, is my understanding. I don't think the FAA would argue that your intent in making those videos is to further YouTube's business interests. Your intent is just to do a flight and share it with your family. The fact that YouTube subsequently makes money off it, I don't think the FAA would ding you for not having a 107. That's just my take. If you can prove differently, like with an FAA statement, then I'll recant. JT Knives in the Discord says, I just discovered that if you watch Joshua Bardwell videos at 2 times speed on YouTube, he sounds like Ben Shapiro. Well, I can't let that slide. Do I sound like Ben Shapiro at 2 times speed? Let's find out. Here. The iFlight Nazgul Evoque that you see me reviewing in this video was sent to me by iFlight. I did not purchase it with my own money. I have not received any cash or other forms of compensation in exchange for this video, and no one has had any approval or preconditions on the contents of this video. And most of the time, I do not do unboxings on camera, but oh my goodness, iFlight has done such a damn good job with the packaging on. I think more like 1.75. It's such a nice unboxing experience, but more fundamentally, oh look at that, they got these plastic screws so the props come out. Really, really slick. More fundamentally to the aesthetics, they have tried to make sure that a first-time user is going to have a good experience, and I sure do appreciate that. We need first-time users having... Yeah, interesting. If we stipulate that a quadcopter has 4 motors, then a quadcopter must have 4 props. You must agree. And if a quadcopter has 4 props, then the props must spin, both clockwise and counterclockwise direction. Everyone would agree with that, right? Now, if the props spin both clockwise and counterclockwise, then diagonally opposing props must spin in the same direction in order to affect yaw. Therefore, we must agree that liberals all fly Flight 1. That's my Ben Shapiro. He didn't actually. The ending was weak. The ending was weak. It's the best I can do off the cuff. For the record, I haven't been watching Ben Shapiro, but I have been watching people do parodies of Ben Shapiro. So that was my parody, my impression of a person doing a parody of Ben Shapiro. Okay. All right. All right. Keep the comments. Oh, I knew it. Keep the comments. Keep it above board. Let's not let the fact that we spoke Ben Shapiro's name draw us into the muck and the mire. What would Russell Brand say about this conversation? Anyway. Oh, okay. Oh my God. Look, more super chats. Jake H, we got you. Coelho FPV. What's the latest on BLHeli S? And did I miss you, Coelho? Coelho, did I miss you? Surely not, right? No, I don't think I did. Okay, I would feel bad if I did, but thank you. Coelho FPV, what's the latest on BLHeli S and directional D-shot? Are we still using JSC or is BLHeli M? So BLHeli, JESC is still fine, but you have to pay for it. Blue Jay is the other one, and then BLHeli M is the other one. Where do you download BLHeli M? I feel really dumb. Where do you get BLHeli M? Oh, okay. I see. I couldn't find it because it kept auto-replacing BLHeli S. BLHeli M is just BLHeli S 16.9. Okay. Who is this? Who is this guy?
All right.
Oh, this guy. Oh my God, him. Okay, so here's the BLHeli M configurator. So BLHeli M is basically just BLHeli S / Jazz Maverick. They basically, BLHeli incorporated the Jazz Maverick stuff. I know Jazz Maverick had some issues in the past. I guess those issues probably have been solved. Blue Jay is fine. JESC is fine. I think they're all fine these days. I don't know what's the best. I'm not sure about that. JESC, you have to pay for. That's the big difference. All right. Sunshiny. Keep it. All right. Keep it above board, please, guys. No politics, please. Yeah, no politics, please. I'm allowed to do if someone says that I sound like Ben Shapiro, then I'm allowed to do a Ben Shapiro impression to play up how much I sound like Ben Shapiro. That is not in any way, that's just comedy. Let's keep the politics out of it, though. Amar Madden says, what's the point of a 107 if you can fly safely without one? Good question. You could ask, what's the point of a driver's license if you can drive safely without one? That's the same argument. And then, you decide how you feel about that argument. I'm not going to defend it. So, Jazz Maverick is not JESC. I mean, in theory, the government has an interest in making sure that the people flying have a certain basic level of training. Otherwise, right? Why do you need a pilot's license to fly an airplane? Well, because when you crash an airplane, you kill people. Well, that's not true of drones, but there you go. Can anybody tell me between BLHeli M, Blue Jay, and Jazz Maverick why I would pick one over the other? So JESC, BLHeli M, Blue Jay, JESC, those are the three. With JESC, you have to pay for. So that's one tick against it. What about the other two? Waiting for the Discord server to jump up and tell me what I'm missing. Brandon RC says JESC is easy. I mean, with the BLHeli configurator, BLHeli M is easy. They're just as easy. BlueJ configurator, they're all easy. You don't have to use BLHeli Suite, which is a pain in the ass. JESC was the first. That's correct. Only $1 per ESC. BlueJ gives you music. There you go. BlueJ has startup music. That's true. You can't do that with the others. It's Blunty says BlueJ is a free solution and is the one he uses and is currently maintained. So BlueJ has startup music and It's Blunty uses it. Therefore, BlueJ is the best. Done. Run Puppy says Jazz Maverick doesn't work on all BLHeli SESCs. Aber the Ham points out JESC was legit when it was the only option for some features, but now that there are free options, he prefers them. BlueJ, okay, BlueJ wins. That's it. Zach Cagesley, thank you for a $5 super chat. Having super fun in IGAO 3. Thanks for sponsoring it. Yeah, it's my pleasure. IGAO is really cool. I'm glad to be a part of it. You're a big part of getting me through the learning parts. Anthony DeStefano, thank you for a $5 super chat. What's the highest ohms I should run a battery at? I have a few 850 milliamp hour 4S. They're showing 21 ohms per cell. So, Anthony, I don't... Uh-oh. Hang on. Okay, are we back? Yeah, sorry about that. I don't know what happened. OBS showed that the stream disconnected and then reconnected. Fingers crossed. I was going to say, Ciati, since I'm calling on Ciati so much, I was going to ask Ciati, do you know what a good internal resistance is for an 850 milliamp hour 4S? Or 850 milliamp hour, period. Ciati will be streaming after me at 10 o'clock in about a half hour, for the record. I don't know. Like, if you ask me about a 1,000 milliamp hour, I'll tell you off the top of my head. I guess 850 is pretty close to 150. I think 23, like 1,000 to 1,300 milliamp hour cell, a good internal resistance is like single digits, below 10, maybe 11 or 12. On an 850, 20 milliohms seems pretty high. Big Data Pimp agrees. 20 milliohms on an 850, I would stop flying it. Ciati says he keeps them until they're above 20 on a toolkit charger. On the ISDT charger, the IRs showed way different. Yeah. One thing to keep in mind is that when you measure internal resistance, the battery needs to be fully charged and it needs to be at room temperature, about 19 or 19 degrees Celsius, let's say. That's the standard. If the battery is not fully charged, the IR will read high. That could be it, perhaps. So we think 20 is maybe a little too high. But make sure you're charging, you're at full charge, not like empty. DocOck100, thank you for 10 pounds. Any chance someone would develop a way of hot swapping the DJI camera into different frames? Same with the Vista, to save having the whole setup in every frame. I don't know if anybody has developed like a backpack for the DJI. I mean, I'm sure someone has. I don't think a lot of people want that, though, to tell you the truth. No offense. I'm sure someone has done it. Like, if I go to Thingiverse, and I search for DJI Air Unit backpack, like, I guarantee you I'm going to get a hit. Boom, right here. So here's a backpack mount for the Air Unit, right? So you put the Air Unit in there and you mount it on your quad. And you move your quad, you move it around. Yeah. Like, what a pain in the ass. But it's out there. Your Majesty says there are frames with interchangeable top plates where the Vista mounts the top plate. Yeah. Seems like a pain in the ass. Anthony DeStefano, thank you for a $10 super chat. Anthony says, I am using the DJI FPV goggle battery and it shows 3 lights, but the goggles show red goggle voltage flying and cut out when I try to take off. The goggles reset. Anthony, I bet that you are you using the V1 goggles with the battery? Maybe not. Maybe that's a little far-fetched. I think your battery pack is flaky. I've seen DJI FPV battery pack where the voltage would go up and down, up and down, up and down. The answer is to get DJI to replace it for you. I don't think you're doing anything wrong now. JT Knives says, yeah, pain in the ass, says the guy with a pile of Vistas and cameras. Yeah, that's fair. What resolution is my stream now? Black Tiger. I mean, I don't think anything changed on my end. May have changed on YouTube's end. I'm still streaming at 1080 and 4.5 megabits per second. Who knows what YouTube's doing with the other end? You can manually raise the resolution. That's all. Yeah, Anthony, I'm sorry I don't have better advice for you, but I think your battery pack is flaky. I have seen it before. Yeah, I don't have any connectivity issue right now, though. Mine is fine. I'm showing 0 dropped frames, full bit rate, 0 missed frames. And YouTube says excellent connection. I think that something's going on your end. Anyway, let's proceed. Yeah, people are saying that auto resolution isn't working. You have to manually raise the resolution. So go ahead and do that. Isaac Mitchell, thank you for a $5 super chat. Quad Standard Labs slammed squirt. I love it. It can freestyle. Let's look at that. This is going back to the question about the bind and fly tiny whoop. Quad Standard Labs slammed squirt. Is this a bind and fly? Oh man. Oh well. Price no object. Damn. I mean, yes, sir. That is a good-looking complete pack. Oh, my God. Oh, that's with the goggles. My bad, my bad. Crossfire Arc. $700. Oh, yeah, John referred me. Sure thing. Batteries. Nah. Backpack. Nah. Well, I mean, that's not completely unreasonable for a custom build. All right. There you go. There's your bind and fly. Thank you, Isaac Missile, for the suggestion. Let's go back. It was Jake H. Jake H, I hope you're still here. That is your answer. I mean, that is somebody who's building. A Shendrone Squirt is very good. Looks like they're doing a solid job on the build, slamming it. The slammed version can freestyle. I mean, you've probably got $500 worth of parts in there easy. So another $200 for the time to do a custom build. And listen to you shout at them on the phone. Drone Co. Productions. All right, let's look at them. Slammed Squirt. Oh, it's coming around. Full build. Do they build? BQE Slam Squirts. Bind and Fly Slam Squirts. No air unit, Crossfire. Oh, it looks like it's about $500. Yeah, it seems legit. That seems pretty legit. All right, we'll throw that in too. Jake H. You got to stick around. Sometimes your answer comes much after the fact. All righty. Thank you, Isaac Mitchell, for the super chat. William Kimball, thank you for a $20 super chat. Thanks for your help over all the years. Thank you, William, for the support. Sunshine, thank you for a $5 super chat. QX7 Radio, OpenTX 2311, Ghost 1005 newest, Hybrid Uno RTX VTX. Everything works except the Ghost menu on the radio. When you say the Ghost menu. I hate Sunshine. I'm really sorry that I don't. What is the ghost menu on the radio? Oh, you guys can't see my face. What is the ghost menu on the radio? Like, Ghost doesn't have a Lua script. Do you mean the widget? Do you mean the Ghost widget? I can't even at you, can I? Because your name is made up of weird Unicode characters. Yeah, I can't even at you because your name is made up of Unicode characters, so I can't type your name. That's too bad. Well, so what do you mean by the ghost menu, Sunshine? Skytex wants to know, what's your opinion on LCOS versus OLED goggles? Oh, is that you over in the Discord? Yeah, I know the name is Sunshine. I just you didn't type it in YouTube with letters. You used Unicode characters that I can't type. LCOS versus OLED. LCOS is cheaper and good enough. OLED is better. That's my hot take. Skyzone Skyo 4X, $500, $525. Skyzone Skyo 4L, identical goggle with LCOS screens, $363, $400. There you go. That's your answer. LCOS, I would live with them. I would rather have OLED, but I'm not sure I would rather have OLED for $100 more. The Sunshine is asking about the Ghost widget. Okay, so I guess the question... Oh, no. Sunshine, the Ghost widget won't work on a QX7, will it? I think the Ghost widget... I think it's only made for the color screen radios like the Jumper and the Radio Master. Where's the widget? I don't know how we would tell that. Can we see the widget anywhere? No. Damn. Widget, let's just change the VTX menu. Yeah, does the Ghost widget actually run on a QX7, or does it only work on the color screen radios? I could ask Tony Cake, but he's probably sleeping right now because he's in Europe. I can't find any way to confirm that. I'm sorry, I can't find any way to confirm that, but I think that's why it won't run on the QX7, because it's not made for the small screen. Milara in the Discord wants to know about Betaflight Paralyze mode. Is it like the panic button? Milara, Paralyze mode is used in team racing. When you activate Paralyze mode, the quad will not reactivate until it's power cycled, I think. Actually, I'm not 100% sure because I don't use it. But the idea is that you paralyze the quad, and even though it is on the ground, powered up, it will not wake up. So if you then plug another quad in and start flying it, the paralyzed quad is still out there, but it doesn't do anything. So no, paralyzed mode is, you should just disarm if you want to disarm. But paralyzed mode, once you activate it, the quad will not reactivate until you power cycle it. It's a way of permanently disabling a quad. Vic and Air FPV wants to know when Orca goggles will be back in stock. No one knows. I have no prediction. No one knows. Gator XRP, thank you for a $5 super chat. What 3D printer would you recommend for our hobby? I'm looking to get one soon. Thanks for all you do. Okay, Gator. The question you have to ask is, what's your budget? And do you want to be a 3D printing hobbyist? Or do you just want to print some GD prints? You know, I made an analogy the other day with someone who we were talking about 3D printing. And he said, I saw you in a live stream and you recommended the Prusa Mark III to somebody. Now, I don't remember the context of this conversation. The Prusa Mark III is not the first printer I recommend to somebody who's getting into 3D printing. because the Prusa Mark III it's like $700-ish if you assemble it yourself, and it's like $900 or $1,000 if you want it pre-assembled. Yikes. But I said to the guy, I recommend the Prusa to people if what you want to do is print things with the minimum amount of dicking around. You just want to... And I said, look, I have a Hewlett-Packard printer over in the corner. I don't want to dick around with, like, how much roller tension should my paper feed have to keep the paper from jamming. I don't want to dick around with how hot should I make the toner to make it fuse with the paper or whatever. I just want to hit print and have a piece of paper come out of my printer. And a lot of people, when they get into 3D printing, they just accept that you will now be a 3D printing hobbyist because that's the only way to get 3D prints. Imagine if paper printers were like that, how annoying it would be. No one is a printer enthusiast. Well, did you know you could print 3% faster if you increase the feed roller tension on the lower feed tray? But you need to use 13% thicker cardstock in order to tolerate that without jamming. Oh, really? I don't care. I just want to print a frickin' piece of paper. And if that's how you feel about 3D printing, get a Prusa Mark III, spend a lot of money, and you will still have to screw around with it some. And you can still screw around with it if you want to. But it is the closest you can get today to, I bought a printer and then I just printed some shit. And that's true. Now, hold on. Is Mr. Steele here? Surely not. I saw Phantom FPV talking to Mr. Steele. It's Mr. Steele. Is he here? He needs to be He is here. Oh my God, he needs to be a moderator. Good to see you, Steele. That's it. Stream's over. No one cares what I have to say. Steele's here. Now, if you want to spend, it is a joy to spend $200 or $300 on a bare bones 3D printer, and then wrangle that thing into getting good results. You know, I saw a documentary about Jack White, not Jack Black. That's a different person. Jack White, the guitarist from the White Stripes. And the documentary starts with him hammering a nail into a board and stringing a wire on the nail and putting a guitar pickup on the board and turning it into a guitar. And one of the ideas he expressed in that video was that he likes to make himself a better musician by giving himself the jankiest musical instruments and forcing himself to work around their limitations, and you become a better musician as a result. And I think a lot of people experience that with 3D printing. They spend $200 on an Ender 3, and maybe it's okay, but then they work their ass off to make it better, and they become more knowledgeable as a result. That's fine. So if you want to spend the least amount of money possible and spend hours of your life dicking around and modifying and improving a printer, get an Ender 3 Pro, or I like the Sovol SV01. I think the upgrades on the Sovol SV01 are worth it compared to the Ender. And the disadvantage of the Sovol is that when you go to upgrade it, it'll be harder. Like if you want to upgrade an Ender, there are 70 zillion tutorials for everything you want to do. If you want to put a new mainboard in your Ender, you're like, well, how do I compile the firmware for my mainboard? It's out there. If you want to do that for a Sovol, there are fewer resources. So Sovol SV01 or Ender 3 Pro, well worth it. $300-ish bucks, $200 to $300 bucks They will print okay out of the box, and you will learn a lot when they screw up and start printing badly. But if you have the money and you don't want to screw around and you just want to, I need a freaking GoPro case. I need a GoPro holder for my quad. Print. Prusa Mark III. Okay. JT Knives says the Caddx Plus is amazing. Printed phenomenal TPU prints. Customer service spectacular. Okay, fair enough. Let's see here. I honestly don't own a Prusa. Every time I think about buying a Prusa, I say to myself, that will be the last thing I actually learn about 3D printing. Because Prusa builds the printers, you download the slicer software, and it's got their custom tuned profiles, and you can buy filament from them. So it's a whole ecosystem, and they have tuned the ecosystem to make it as easy as possible to get good results, just print and go. And I feel like the adversity of my printer is screwed up. When have I ever learned anything in my life? When things are going badly. When things are screwed up and I have to figure out why. And I want to be better at 3D printing. I feel like that's a good skill. It's an interesting skill. I enjoy it, even though it also makes me beat my head against a wall. So I intentionally don't buy a Prusa Mark III, as tempting as it is, because I want to learn about 3D printing and get better at working on 3D printing. Scott Williamson, I know, Scott, I know that Prusas can print any kind of filament, and I know that you can configure the parameters of the slicer. My point is that Prusa does sell filament, and they have slicer profiles pre-configured for their printer and their filament. So if you want, and by controlling every aspect of that ecosystem, they get you as close as possible to a print and go outcome. Obviously, you can use any filament you want, but you may not get the same results, and you might need to end up tuning the parameters. So in such a hurry to disagree with me. You disagree with something I didn't even say. It's a little slow. All right, moving on. I can feel myself getting annoyed, so we're gonna move on. I just switched to Prusa Slicer from Cura. Cura was giving me problems. I was like, all right, F you. Let's try Prusa Slicer. Francis Beedzogo. Thank you for $5 Canadian. I ordered an H7 from Flight 1 since December 2020. I haven't received it yet. They barely answer my emails. I am really frustrated with them. Yeah, Francis, I'm sorry. I have heard this many times over, that Flight 1 is not fulfilling orders, that they are holding customers' money, not sending out product, and not answering support calls. I obviously can't speak from personal experience because I am not a customer, and when I message Preston, he answers me. Duh. I think you're not alone. That's the impression that I have from people who complain to me about Flight 1 not fulfilling their orders. At this time, I'm tempted to say I don't think I would order from them, because so many people, I've heard so many people say that they're holding their money and they're like, oh yeah, but we'll give you licenses. We'll give you licenses to run Flight 1 on other people's hardware. Okay. But you can't sell product you don't have inventory on. Products, flight controllers, Lightning H7. Buy now. Lightning H, it's marked down. Available on back order. Back order. I don't know. Okay. Add to cart. Yeah, so they're still selling back orders. When was the last time they shipped a back order? That's what people are complaining about. For the record, I am not personally vouching for this, but I can say that I have heard this complaint many times over the last 6 months or a year. And I've heard this complaint not just from customers, but also from retailers who say that Flight One is holding retail amounts of money and not shipping. So you're not alone. So I think I certainly wouldn't put a back order in with Flight One right now. There you go. Too bad. Flight One does some cool things. I don't know why they can't get stock. Steve 3PO FPV, thank you for $4.99. I got to ask because of your background, 5.56 versus 7.62, 9mm versus 10mm. Why are we doing this again? I assume you mean 7.62 by 39. Every true American knows that 5.56, you choose 5.56 over 7.62 by 39. And if you don't, you're a freaking commie. I mean, it's not about the best round. It's just about patriotism. 9mm versus 10mm is a harder question. Not that I'm like an expert on ammunition, but it's my live stream, so I'll spout out. Back a long time ago when I used to carry, I thought that like 17 rounds of 9mm plus P was a good place to be. Because you have the high pressure loading, and you what you lose in mass you try to make up in velocity, especially with a hollow point. With the larger it's going to expand, right? So you're going to make a big hole. I don't know about 10mm versus 40 cal versus 45. I'm the kind of guy who bought a turbocharged inline 4 Mustang, so you shouldn't listen to me. But I'm the same kind of guy who thought that plus P 9mm was a better choice than like 40 or 45. I don't know about 10mm. 10mm wasn't really popular back when I was shooting regularly. I don't know if it's become popular now. That's right, the EcoBoost is a good motor, Iric Toft. It is a good motor. Yeah. I did a lot of sports shooting, so like there's no reason to do IDPA with 45 unless you just carry 45 and want to train 45. You're just giving yourself more recoil and fewer rounds in the magazine. How many horsepower? I read that as hit points. How many horsepower does your Mustang have? I think it's somewhere in the neighborhood of 300. Yeah. All right. Well, we got it's Monday night, so this is the American stream, so we can talk about ammunition, but it's certainly not my area of specialty. It's an inline 4. It's not a V4. It's basically half a V8. What do you think about red dots? I mean, the thing about red dots, I don't know if they've gotten better. It's been a while since I was shooting regularly, but red dots, the big thing with red dots for carry was the size. It was hard to find a red dot that would fit comfortably in an everyday carry holster, especially with concealed. Obviously, red dots are pretty awesome. Having one dot that you need to put on target instead of 3 dots that you have to line up makes it simpler to hit the target. That was my take on it. How are the TBS Mambo transmitters holding up? I don't use it as a daily driver, so yeah. So I couldn't speak to it more than what I said in the review. Yeah, I mean, yeah, the people who wanted better aiming on carry pistols used like underbarrel lasers back in the day when I was shooting regularly. Yeah, little micro sized like red dots. I don't know about those. Anyway, but you should really ask people who know what they're talking about. I just like answering your questions, but I'm really out of touch, to be honest with you. I'm really out of touch on what I'm sure a lot has happened. Morton Upshot says, learn to use your sights. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Am I out of focus, GV Pilot? I don't think so. Let's find out. Doesn't matter. Stream's almost over. I'm out of focus now. Here, hang on. There we go. We got focusing. Look at the beard. No, I think I was in focus. Mostly in focus. All right. Anyway. Well, guys, it's about 4 minutes to the end of the stream. I have Dakish Tripati. I have never done anything with Pixhawk, unfortunately. I might like to do that someday, but not today. Here, you want to see something fun? There you go. I'm so freaking slow. Hey, look, any day where you don't flag somebody is a good day. That's what I say. This is 2007. Oh yeah, I had a lot to work on, trust me. My stance. There's a lot to think about. It's not a Nintendo. That's a shot timer. It detects the time of the shots. It detects the time of the shots using sound. Morton Upshot, you're not allowed to leave rounds on the ground. I don't remember why. I'm sure I picked up that mag because I was required to. I think I was required to retain the mag, but I dropped it out of habit. Keanu's a lot faster than me, my friend. Yeah, I think you're allowed to drop empty mags. I think I dropped that mag because I wanted to reload for the next string. Because I didn't want to reload in the middle of the string. But then there were rounds in the mag, so I wasn't allowed to. I had to retain it. Anyway, there you go. End of the stream on a Monday night. That's what you get. I was never very good, but I had a good time, and I never shot anybody I wasn't supposed to shoot, so I call that a win. Alrighty, guys, that's going to do it. It's 10 p.m. That's going to wrap up the stream. Ciati is going to be streaming. He's posting the link. There's the link. Do you still drop mags out of habit? I mean, I feel like when you're practicing tactical reloads, you just drop the mag, right? If you're in a gunfight, you screw the mag. Just keep fighting. I know, you know, I try to train with that perspective in mind. Yeah, I feel like if you train yourself to like do a slow retention, that's not how you should train. Anyway, but there's far smarter people than me to give you advice about that sort of thing. I'm going to stick to FPV, but I'm going to get out of here. I'll see you tomorrow for the news. Ciati, have a great stream, and happy flying, everybody.